Hi, my name is Emily, and I will be focusing on the strategy for dealing with the must-write challenging individual for this week's 3.1 graded assignment. The background of this strategy is that a parent arrives at the school and approaches the secretary in the front office. The parent is frustrated and is being vocal about speaking with the athletic director immediately. The athletic director hears the commotion coming from the front office and walks out there to see what is going on. The athletic director can tell that the individual is upset and politely asks, how can I help you? Please come into my office. And the athletic director listens to the individual's concerns. The individual is using explicit language while presenting their case and that their son doesn't get enough playing time. The parent states that the son is a good student, is a good teammate, and has played regularly since the 8th grade. So they're not understanding why their son isn't playing more than what he is. The parent believes, since the son is a senior, that he should see more playing time, and the individual goes on to state that the coach isn't being fair, the coach should be the one responsible for speaking with the player, and that, if the parent would try to approach the coach, that the coach isn't an approachable individual. So in this scenario, I think the athletic director did a good job in listening to what the irritated parent had to say. Some of the strategies that we were going through this week in our discussion forums is just talking about handling and dealing with challenging individuals and how we would handle that based on kind of how we would respond. And so it's important to be a good listener and not interrupt individuals when they're trying to express their concerns to you as the athletic director. And it can be hard to interact with challenging individuals, but it's important to remain professional and exhibit your strengths to the individual in handling their case. So when you had to go through the assessments and assess your responses and how you would handle a challenging individual, it's a good practice to go through so you can be able to recognize and know what your strengths are when handling a challenging individual. So after the athletic director hears this case, the athletic director should speak with the coach about talking amongst student athletes and parents to address any team or individual concerns. There could be other parents that are upset that just haven't come in the office, or there could be other student athletes telling their parents concerns about the team. And so it's just a good idea as the athletic director to remind the coach that they should be approachable and maybe provide some ideas and how to be approachable and being that approachable coach for those parents and student athletes, and also just reminding the coach to arrive early and plan on staying a little later after practice for that opportunity to have those conversations with the parents and the athletes. So the remedy I would suggest in this scenario would be to ask the student athlete to talk to the coach first and have that conversation as to why he's not seeing as much playing time compared to the other players on the team. So this conversation could provide the student athlete some reasoning as to why he is not playing, instead of just assuming he's not playing because of the reasons he thinks he's not playing. So if the reason doesn't make sense or doesn't make the student athlete happy to what the coach tells them, then the student athlete can go and express their concern to their parent. As the parent, if the parent wants to take that next step should be emailing the coach and asking for a time to set aside a meeting to discuss the player's playing time. And based on how the conclusion of that meeting comes out, then the parent can go to the athletic director if they still are not pleased. So the athletic director can hear the parents' concerns and then meet separately with the coach. This is important because it allows for the coach to provide reasoning to the athletic director as to why the student athlete isn't playing or isn't seeing as much playing time. Then the athletic director can arrange a meeting with the coach, the parent, and the student athlete. It's important prior to the meeting that the athletic director and the coach are on the same page. If there's any decisions that are going to be altered or are going to be made within that meeting, it needs to be clear as to what those decisions are so that the athletic director and coach are on the same page at the conclusion of that meeting. If the statistics are not there for the student to play more, then the meeting can provide opportunity to what that student athlete needs to do to improve in order to receive more playing time. If the challenging parent declines to have that meeting and review the statistics of their son, then an alternative could be to kind of follow up with an email or a document that reiterates what was talked about, that you listened to their concerns. This is the understanding of the concern. This is how we're moving forward, and just reiterate what was discussed in that meeting. And then within that email or documentation, you can provide another opportunity to meet to discuss the matter. At this time, when the parent came in, the parent was heated. They were irritated, and so they may not have wanted to meet with the coach at that time. They may be thinking they don't even want to meet with the coach at a later time. But if you allow some time for that individual to cool down, to think about what was said within that meeting between the parent and the athletic director, providing another opportunity and follow-up as to, you have the opportunity to sit down and to meet with the coach and to meet with the athletic director and learn more about as to why your son isn't playing or isn't seeing as much playing time. And then from there, you can find a resolution between the student athlete, the parent, and the coach.